You're standing in the shower, the hot water is running, and you are currently tearing apart an opponent in a debate. You have the perfect comebacks, the ultimate logical traps, and total command of the facts. You might be reliving an awkward exchange from 3 years ago, finally delivering the mic drop line you couldn't think of at the time. Or maybe you're scripting out a confrontation with your boss that hasn't even happened yet. While this process feels like mental torture, it is actually a protective effort by your brain. These phantom conflicts represent a sophisticated, deeply ingrained defense mechanism, one that is struggling to adapt to the modern world. To understand why we do this, we have to look at threat simulation theory. This is the idea that the brain operates as an internal simulator, constantly running scenarios to prepare us for potential danger. Ancient humans faced two primary threats: physical predators and social rejection. To be pushed out of the tribe and forced to leave the warmth of the communal fire meant losing access to collective food and protection, which was an almost certain death sentence. Because the stakes of group belonging were so absolute, the human nervous system evolved to treat a social misstep with the same physiological urgency as an approaching predator. In this environment, the cost of failing to predict a social threat was catastrophic. In contrast, the cost of over-preparing for a threat that never happened was merely a few wasted calories. When you are pacing your bedroom arguing with an imaginary coworker, you are witnessing an ancient survival engine running a simulation to ensure you stay within the safety of the social group. But why do these simulated arguments manifest specifically during low-focus activities? It rarely happens when you are absorbed in a complex project. It waits until you're folding laundry, driving a familiar route, or trying to fall asleep. This occurs because of the default mode network. When you stop paying attention to the outside world, this network illuminates. Instead of resting, it fires up, shifting the mind into mental time travel, burning massive energy sifting through memories and projecting into the future. Because it is calibrated for survival, this network naturally gravitates towards scanning for unresolved social threats or past prediction errors where a conversation didn't go as planned. A resting body does not mean a resting mind. When physically idle, your brain is neurologically wired to actively hunt for unresolved social conflict. There is another layer to this. Beyond fear, the brain generates these simulations to chase a specific neurochemical high. Think about the feeling of righteous indignation. Knowing with absolute certainty that you are correct and someone else is completely wrong actually produces genuine pleasure in the brain's reward centers. When you win a fake argument in your head, destroying an imaginary opponent with perfect logic, your brain releases a burst of dopamine. It treats that mental victory as a successful behavioral outcome. This creates a self-reinforcing loop. We find ourselves drawn back into past conflicts just to chase the emotional high of imaginary closure and the satisfaction of being right. This ancient system has always been with us, but modern technology, specifically asynchronous texting, acts as a high-frequency trigger for it. In the 1920s, a psychologist noticed cafe waiters perfectly remembered unpaid orders, but instantly forgot them once the bill was settled. This revealed the Zeigarnik effect, the brain's tendency to keep unfinished tasks at the forefront of our memory. Because digital messages lack tone and facial expressions, an unanswered message or a read receipt acts as a psychological open loop. To close that loop, the brain fills the silence by inventing worst-case scenarios, obsessively rereading text to find a hidden meaning that might not exist. This results in a state of persistent cognitive tension. Our ancient survival instincts are attempting to resolve a digital silence that our biology was never designed to process. Experiencing these loops is not a sign of failure. It is simply evidence of a highly evolved, overprotective brain working overtime to keep you safe. To break the cycle, you can use a technique called cognitive diffusion. Forcefully fighting the thoughts often causes them to rebound. Instead, you want to change how you relate to the thought itself. The actual solution is to create psychological distance by stepping back and observing your brain's mechanics as they happen. The next time you catch yourself arguing with an imaginary opponent, use this exact phrase: "My brain is creating another fake argument." By labeling the process, you separate your identity from the thought. This strips the fake argument of its neurochemical power